Hello, and welcome back to Pathologic Classic HD. This is day 12, the final day. On this day, we finally decide the fate of this town, and how best to save it. Perhaps Mark Immortal might have something to tell us.
When we do not find peace of mind in ourselves, it is useless to seek it elsewhere.
Well, sure. I also thank you for saving my life, kind sir. Hats off to you. I'll have a chance to put my life to good use in the near future. That's what they all say, right? I still don't get it. You're an entirely different creature. How come you're in the same boat with the Utopians? What is there not to get, O esteemed and wisest of bachelors? You were a puppeteer. Your mask foretold our future. Or maybe they imposed it upon us. In all honesty, I don't see the difference. All this time I was absolutely positive you were connected to the plague. You are correct. Oh, the keenest of the astute. So what? I have cognized the side of existence from backstage, so to speak, from where the strings go and the machinery is hidden, and yet I willingly swore allegiance to the Utopia. Does that tell you nothing? It doesn't tell me enough. You are, as always, a double dealer. I don't believe you changed. And you being with them is fearsome to me. You are an alarming tone in the jubilant orchestra of the creators. You know, I'm glad you're leaving. You are a dangerous person. Dealing with you would be an arduous task. You're back to being annoyed already? I was just planning to ask you what you were going to do with your life. Me? Haha, that's ridiculous. And it's very tactless of you to ask me a question like that. Oh no, no offense taken. By me. You haven't offended me, after all. You've offended the Scarlet Mistress herself. My life belongs to Maria now, and I am merely her humble servant, always at her service. I know who you are. You were the devil. Well, it seems you can't be done without, especially with the Utopians. Perhaps that explains a lot about Mark Immortal. The man who somehow knows how to break the fourth wall. Concerns me. So on this day, I think our task is to make sure that everyone's cured, that we can find. We need to save all of our own Utopians. We need to save everyone that we were tasked to save. And if we want to invite Clara or the Haruspecs to the final council, we have to make sure to invite them as well. Clara is of course not here. Shoot.
The weapon security must be tightened.
So, today is the end. At 2200 hours, we're taking the army southeast to Mayher Road. At 2350 hours, we're firing. Your choice will decide where the shells go, Surgeon. The council will be held at the cathedral at 1900. What if you miss the target? Not from this distance. That is out of the question. What happens if I don't come to the cathedral? The Inquisitor and I will have a conflict. I don't think anything good will come of that. I'm so wary that I'll have to break my instructions, I'm afraid. I'll risk falling into disgrace, facing a court-martial. In my opinion, there is a plot against the Inquisitor. I do not wish to become the weapon raised against her by the hands even more devious. Are you talking about Clara? Clara the Saint? Yes, about the Changeling. Take my advice. Beware of the Inquisitor. They do say you're a refined analyst, but I wouldn't risk playing her game if I were you. It's better to hold a blind defense and not believe our word. You underestimate me. No matter how hard you struggle, an Inquisitor will always find a way to trick you, and there's nothing that can be done about it. An Inquisitor will always use you in their interests, and you wouldn't even notice it. That's exactly what's going to happen to us all today. Why is the Inquisitor so dangerous to you, Commander? Officially, I don't have the right to fire unless either of you provides me with a detailed report on the hazard situation. I hope you can appreciate the restriction it applies to my freedom. Duobus Sertanibus Tertius Gordet. I butchered that one completely. I'm so sorry to everyone. Perhaps we should make a sweep this way in a sort of spiral fashion. See if we can make sure that everyone that is highlighted to me that can be saved is saved. Or perhaps it's actually just best to start here and work our way over. People that we were tasked to save were the Canes. I believe at least one of them is sick. But I don't really know which one. Or at least I don't remember. We were tasked to save Yulia. No, we weren't. We were tasked to save Eve. But Eve is already dead, so I don't think there's anything we can do for her. The streets are empty. Aside from the occasional soldier, there is literally no one out. Everything's peaceful. Though that in and of itself is also a worrying sign. I'm more just worried that everyone is now dead. It's all well and good saving the Utopians, but what use is that if there's no one left alive to build a utopia with? So the Canes are all actually okay. Perhaps I was wrong then. No, the Canes are safe. There's an executive by the doorway, however. You are too early. The Queens will be deciding upon the fate of the remains of this wretched town at 7 o'clock. As for now, the cathedral is closed. I need to speak to Alexander Block. He's here. Here? No, he'll only arrive at 7 o'clock in the evening. There's some exemplary punctuality in honour that he is. And let me meet the Inquisitor. We have a lot to talk about before the council begins. No, Bachelor, you will meet them at 7 o'clock and not a minute earlier. New powers have come into play now, powers that even a government Inquisitor cannot oppose. We are only doing their bidding. What powers? You'll find that out if every person whose life has been in your hands for the last 12 days has a chance to say a word before the council. Every single bound person. But Eva's dead. She apparently does not think so. This unfortunate girl is the only friend of yours that has really done something for you. You won't ever have to take care of her now, as yet her voice still will be heard. She pleaded and spoke for you. And the others? There are a few lives that you personally are responsible for. If these people are safe and sound by the evening, you will be allowed access to the council. You'll have to have a chance to tell Aglaia Lilith what you think of her. By the evening, all of them will be well. Eve is alive. Though, in what state is perhaps debatable. The polyhedron I might not yet climb for now. I will do that a bit later on today, as the bird-masked executive told me. Something important will be happening there later on. Perhaps it's wise to wait for that. It might also be wise to sleep a little bit longer. I might as well go to Eve's place, just maybe try and catch a bit more rest. Right, alright, how much health do we have? Oh, enough to be getting on with. Right. Down a bottle of Meridor, and up to sleep we go. A few more hours will do the trick. Morning of the 12th day has come. Current dead 8,000, infected 562. You have less than 14 hours to make the right choice. Day 12, in which it finally becomes apparent what it was all about. Well, find out something. Let's explore south a ways first. There's some people down south that we haven't really met very much that I think might be useful to just check in on. Some of Burach's bound. Frustratingly, I keep on wanting to call them adherents, which was their old name in the original translation of this game, which, as a transliteration, almost makes sense. After all, for something to be bound or stuck to something implies some degree of being adhered to something like glue. However, the actual word adherent and bound, they still have very different connotations in English. Nevertheless, the point of them is put across quite well in the game, I feel. So, younger Vlad, how's he doing?
If we're in the majority, the fragile polyhedron will be left untouched. We'll manage to sustain life in it. Maria can do miracles.
You saved my life. Thank you. I'll have a chance to put it to good use in the near future. It's hard to find you amongst those people. Maria told me from the very start to keep an eye on you, but I thought it was about scheming and hidden plots. Yeah, well, that was an unexpected turn of events, even for myself. It all happened very fast. The last few days, I mean. You were such a loyal son. I was sure you would follow in your father's footsteps. I am still a loyal son. Who told you I was denying my family's values and power? That's like genes, one cannot change those. Even if I abjured the ideals my father believed in, I cannot abjure his lines. But that's step knowledge. Barak can tell you all about that. Your father. Do you want to be like him? He is a boss, a bull man and a master of bulls. He is a man of primeval age, of the age that has long sunk into oblivion. He was born by the very damp and dense epoch that gave birth to the kin and its values. I respect him, and I love him. You can see what he's done for me, but the age of orcs and bisons has irretrievably ended. What are you going to do now? I'll serve Maria. I'll be her hands, her practical mind. I'll be her accountant and chancellor. I'll estimate the price of her ideas and outbursts, and I'll estimate the price of her every dream. You know, it happens. Some business-like people are also surprisingly mad. Well, you've surprised me, Olgimsky. Fare thee well. So, there's a girl that lives in a little caravan out here, who I think we met but once, if at all. Well, just see if I can show you a neat little secret in this game. You stand next to the standing stone, sometimes you can hear Russian chanting. That respects his proposal. I was told you were looking for an alternative way, Roinon. I know what we must do. We have no other choice but to offer an inordinate sacrifice. In doing so is still the most humane thing that can be done. If you think you could trust my judgment, come see me and I will tell you the details of it. I'm running out of time. So much has happened recently, I feel as if I'm being torn in two. Please, help me. Burach. Perhaps the chanting won't show up for me. But that's okay. Oh, there it is. Let's very difficult to make out. But it's definitely there. Oh goodness, her railway car is quite a way down, isn't it? I think this might be it. Just coming up in the center of the screen here. Yes, I believe this is it. Ah, here she is.
Dad used to bring food from the factory.
She came close, her hands murmuring. She says she'll eat your heart before you even notice. Who are you? My name is Murky. I feel that the chase has already begun. I need to hide. It's bad I can't hide in my bed. Who's chasing you? Not me. Us. She's very close already. Don't worry, I'll lock her up in the wardrobe.
A weak calf is cold midsummer, Mom used to say.
If you don't take care of me, who would breathe life into our town again? I'll have so many things to do in 5 or 10 years. Thank you. Thank you. You think this town is still able to take a new lease of life? Definitely. It won't be easy, of course, but life has to be fought for, otherwise it's not real. Do not tear off the umbilical cord that has been feeding all of us since the beginning of time. These things are going almost extinct everywhere. Is it really worth the effort to do your best for the sake of such a wretched place? What about my friends? I won't be able to do anything without them. Are they alive? Is it possible to visit them already? Not yet. I'm not done yet. So essentially we've just got to visit all the buildings in red. As far as I'm aware, that should cover everything. Well, that and the abattoir, of course. And perhaps the polyhedron as well, but the polyhedron can wait a little bit longer. There's the artillery gun. Oh god. I hope to god that we're making the right decisions here. Right. Here is the back warehouses, which again I don't think we really have visited very much during the game. We mainly visited the warehouses that Griff lived in, but these ones are a different set. And also have, I believe, one of Burak's, oh Christ, one of Burak's adherents, who is evidently already sick. This person is sick. Can they be helped? I have a box of the children's schmauder. That'll help. This will cripple them for the rest of their life. It will burn their insides along with the plague. You surely want to save them from the disease at this cost? Yes, give it to them. I know not who this adherent is. I don't care for him hugely yet.
If we, the outcast children, live, the town will grow to be a town of men. Capella will entrust us with it. We're the future of this land.
The hell are you doing here, Doc? How do you know I'm a doctor? Everyone does. I'm Chieftain Notkin, and you see a very big grey cat around here, call him Artist. I will if he calls me Bachelor.
Where's my cat again? I hope he doesn't escape.
You think this town is still able to take a new lease of life? So, he has exactly the same dialogue as his other child friend. Well, it's one more person saved. Although I suspect that they may have been sick for a little while and I just missed them because I never had cause to visit here. Right. Who else? Griff and Ruben are both around here. They both need checking in on. Let's see. Of course Griff is sick. Right. Griff can get the Schmouder as well. I don't really like Griff all that much. But let's see what he has to say.
A part of sent to the well is broken at last.
Thank you. We need to live a little longer. There's one more thing that has to be done. My death will not be purposeless now. What kind of death? What kind of thing? I am to perform the most precious feat of all, feat of self-sacrifice. I will do what Simon has done. Every single particle of my body and soul will become life-bearing, bursting with life and granting it to others. There will be no cannon fire. The town will continue to grow. The thread to the future will stretch from now until the very dawn of time. But you won't last long. You won't be enough. Consider Simon's fate. We are too few now. But if there's at least a dozen of us, it'll be enough for the town to expand further and beyond. Hopefully, the place where daydreams are captured and fulfilled will live to see 200 years more. How many of those like me have survived? I don't care. I want to save your life and not for the sake of future sacrifices. Clara's adherents are all somewhat suicidal. I believe that will be the dialogue option for all of Clara's adherents. Oh, dead end. My god, Clara really dropped the ball. How many of hers a second? Wait, this is mine? No, Ruben is not one of mine. Pretty sure Ruben is not a utopian. But nevertheless, I like him, so he can have the panacea.
My path was called the Warden. I've committed sacrilege and fed the town with its fruit. It would take him a long time to find me here.
Same dialogue options as the rest. This is not a negligence of my doctor's GTL, it was the negligence of Clara. Nevertheless, let's cure everyone else that we can. Northward bound we are. Of course, we still must cure ourselves as well. But we have... how many cures left do we have? 3 powders, 5 panaceas. Do you remember the last letter that I sent you? The time has come. The victory I am trying to lead you to is not enabled by reason. It's made possible by faith alone. You cannot prove it, you can only feel it deep within your heart. I am in the left wing of the cemetery, so come along if you want to talk. My plan is the only one that will work. Nothing has to die. Clara. Well, I don't really believe her. Given that all of her bound people are all openly suicidal and slightly mad, I don't believe her when she says that nothing has to die. She's gonna kill something. Victoria can have a panacea. A letter from the powers that be. Bachelor, we thought we should write because you don't seem to be listening to what we tell you. You've gotten out of hand. As of late, you keep doing whatever you please. This is unacceptable. You are spoiling the game. If this letter reaches you in good time, do come to the Polyhedron. They will let you inside. Keep your eyes tightly closed, then descend to the bottom and say 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. We would like to have a little chat with you. The people who own you. I really don't like the powers that be. Right. Some more people to cure in this area. What time is it? 8:27 AM. That is more than enough time to run around and cure everyone. The streets are completely empty though. It's kind of unnerving. Are you kidding me? Mark Immortal is sick? How is he sick? You aren't allowed in here, Bachelor. Some of our actors are still standing guard by the doors of some of our patrons, the regular audience, so to speak. So the theatre is therefore closed. Are you trying to say that until at least one mask is standing guard at the door of at least one doomed person? Exactly, oh, you sly devil. Thinking on your feet, aren't you? You're called a hero of the intellectual type for a reason, I see. No, it's not too difficult. I think we can strike some kind of bargain. Out of the question. Well, the world is large enough, I can live without it. Perhaps he is not sick then, but the beak is nevertheless not gonna let me in. This is probably the speediest way to Yulia. We got the other two characters really dropped the ball though, in terms of how many sick people they have. I really hope that I've got enough for them all. If I don't, I might be a little bit screwed. Yulia's... That's not Yulia. That is... Whose house is that? Lara. Lara's house. Lara's safe, at least. I don't think I need to visit her. She'll also just be professing suicidal rantings. So long as there's no beak outside her door, that's all that really matters. And now for Yulia. Please tell me she's safe. She's safe. I don't see any beak outside her door. I think she's okay. Yes, she's okay. So, that leaves not too many more. Town council we've already seen. It's just got Alexander Block, and I don't think he can get sick. Other than these very small amount of soldiers, I don't think there's anyone else alive here at all. At least none of them that I can spot. Okay, we've got a small selection of houses here. There's actually quite a few. Okay. Right, we can get through them all though. Right. Firstly, is Katharina Sabarova sick? Inquisitor's reminder. Tonight at 7, proceedings will be held at the Town Cathedral. I earnestly request your attendance. You will introduce your argument before the obtuse commander in order to substantiate our, I should hope, decision. I also ask that you put all your current affairs in order before the proceedings. The situation is at a stalemate. Whatever authority I wield is not enough to guarantee the right decision is enforced. I rely upon your discretion as well as your decency. Aglaya Lilik, Inquisitor. Is Katharina safe? What does this Dark Mistress have to say?
If there's enough people.
Also the same suicidal ramblings as the rest of Clara's adherents. I wasn't sure if she'd have anything different to say. Turns out not. Alexander Sabarov. Does he have anything different to say?
My chest hurts.
No. No, he doesn't. Just complaining of chest pain. I mean, as a doctor, I should probably do something about that, but in all honesty, I think that's probably the least of our problems right now. Andre? Or is this Peter? This is Peter's studio. And Peter seems safe. Let's see what Peter has to say.
Truth is foundation and the reason of the perfection of beauty, old boy.
You saved my life, Daniel. I thank you. Put it to good use. You won't regret it. What are you going to do with your life? Tell me. Here's what's going to happen. Part of the town on this bank of the river will be deserted. People who will have found shelter in the specular cocoon will become its new inhabitants. What are you going to build? My brother and I will build the whole town. The cold hole will look like a mud pie in a sandbox compared to it. I've decided in my mind already. Really? Tell me. I told you already of the idea to construct a building with variable density. Or was that something else? But there's also a not house. There's a house that erupts from itself, an inside-out house, so to speak, but without the inside part. An encircled suburb that is at war with the centre, a bridge suburb, and, of course, a growing house that changes every week. How could you possibly invent all that? Are you really going to build all those things? That was an effulgent epiphany, a true eureka moment. My brother and I have planned the space already. We've laid roads, placed suburbs and districts, and when we saw the whole thing and realized how much energy was hiding in it, we exchanged glances. It will rival the cities of the greatest ancient civilizations. So I've made the right choice after all. You alone are worth bringing a gang of criminals and scoundrels into power. I trust Peter. He might be a bit of a confused junkie, but he means well, and that's certainly more than anyone else. Really, in the Utopians. Right. Sticky. Let's go visit his little abode. Check that it's all okay. Where is it though? Is it it's just around the corner. So, as a slight spoiler for the later bit of the day, as the Bachelor, I feel that I must play in character. He's okay. Good. And given that I must play in character, I must therefore make the decisions that the Bachelor would make. And of course, the Bachelor is truly enamored with the utopia, with the ideal that the polyhedron represents. He doesn't really have very much love for the town, especially. He's not one of its people. He is an outsider, and to be quite frank, the town is full of a bunch of fucking idiots who refuse to be saved despite the Bachelor's best efforts. A town full of scoundrels, villains, traitors, people that have screwed over the Bachelor's trust time and again. I don't think that he has any real reason to have very much love for it. It's been nothing but a hellhole for him. The one thing that he came here for was taken from him right at the start, which was the prophecy of immortality. Or at least the stories of Simon Kane, the supposedly immortal man. As such, I don't think that he has very much reason to save the town. He has every reason to preserve the tower. That is the Bachelor's solution, and wow, I'd have thought that one's pretty obvious by now.
My path was called larger than life. I've done everything I ever wanted to do.
You saved my life, old chap. Lovely. Soon you'll see that I won't let you down. Your gift is greatly appreciated and is going to be put to good use. What are you going to do with your life? Tell me. I finally realized what my part is, I'm good at breaking through to when no one is supposed to. I'm really good at breaking rules, challenging, contradicting, but I have no idea how to build something. You're not alone, Andre. Exactly. There is no Andre, only the brothers Stampton, the twins. We are worthless without one another, and together we are worth more than any of the old schoolmasters. Peter's fantasies have no limits. He is too naive for that, and I have the genuine freedom of action. You don't conform to anything. And that is exactly why I'll be able to implement anything invented by Peter and blessed by Maria's love. Neither death, nor depth, nor the law itself will stop me. All in all, I'm staying. I love this future Paya. Makes me feel like some form of demiurge. I envy you, Andre. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure we'll meet in the capital soon enough. And your first drink's on me. I wonder if at this point the capital is St. Petersburg or Moscow. Don't really know that when that point changed in Russian history very much. There's a lot of Russian history which I only know fragments of. Feel a bit bad for that, you know. But I am. Right. So we've got Ospina's house to visit. And Laska's place, the graveyard, to visit. So long as those are both clear, which I think they probably will be if the authorities have invited me to come to stay, then I think we might actually have won the game. Oh, no, we haven't. I was wrong. Ospina is, of course, sick. Right, let's go and fix this then. I don't really like Ospina much. She can have powder. I really hope that's everyone that can be saved. We're doing pretty well, I think. And Laska's safe. Good. Right. So where did they say they would meet me? So I think Borak is probably still down below the butchering room, which is pretty nearby, so I'll just pay him a quick visit. Hopefully, from what we've told him, from what we've done, if we have saved all of his bounds, then he'll come to say his piece in the cathedral tonight. Oh, really? Really? I don't fancy dying of infection on the last day. We've got so close. But I don't want to take any panacea or powders until I'm completely certain. Borak.
Yes?
I hope you're happier than I am, Oinon. Some of you must have resolved to... What about you? I'm in doubt, Oinon. All this time I've been walking between two paths. I hoped that eventually they would converge into one, but they went into different directions. In order to preserve the town without risks, I could have shown you the proof I promised. I was a bit short on time. Tell me how you would do this. I would destroy the polyhedron. This is the price that has to be paid for procuring enough raw material to create tons of panacea. I would keep the settlement, of course, an abandoned, dangerous place that is 100-fold worse than an inhabited one that's ruled with resolve. So you would demolish the polyhedron. That's your price for saving the town. Have this powder keg of a settlement be ruled. I would tackle the hardest task myself, ruling the dome that's covering the depths. The living part that has a protective crust I'd pass over to the new generation of rulers brought up by Capella. If another outbreak ever happens, we'll have enough panacea to nip the epidemic in the bud. The next generation of rulers? You mean the bound children? Yes, exactly. Olgimsky has marked them. And her mark is not of this world. She is never wrong. So if you took it upon yourself to take care of them, I'd have the time to prepare my arguments before evening and could attend the council well prepared. But the changeling has ruined them, and now some of them are dying. I suppose I could help them. Really? I can present the commander with arguments in favour of a proposal that will preserve the town at the cost of destroying the tower. This is a wise arrangement and, as my heart tells me, a lasting one. I'm thinking about the future of my community. What do you need for that? My confidants are alive, so I'll come. I see no problems with that. But are you absolutely sure they are really alive? I am. I've seen them all myself. Your confidants are alive and well. See you at the council, Barak. Barak will come to the cathedral. If I will allow him to pass the ultimate judgment, he will destroy the polyhedron so that the town may survive at the cost of its uncommonness. Once again, the town will become the same backwater hole it was before. The Hippocratic Oath enjoins us to preserve the life of a genius by means of curative lobotomy. Vigorous applause. Bachelor is not very fond of that proposal, as you may have just gathered. But there are other ways around this. That much I'm sure. That's a dead end. So, truly in the end, it's difficult to say what the right decision is, if any. The Bachelor certainly seems to think that the polyhedron is the one thing that made this town worth anything at all. And it must be said that the polyhedron's power is quite fascinating and brilliant. Andrei Stamatin is a genius if he's created something that can literally make dreams come true. The way it will be put to use, however, by Maria Kleina, that's more up for debate. I don't know whether she would necessarily have noble intentions. We already know that her rule is going to be a little bit horrifying. Scarlet Nina, named so because of the blood dripping from her hands, isn't exactly a reassuring image. But then again, perhaps that is still better than losing the brilliance that is the polyhedron. Clara.
I'm sick. The world is going dark.
See how everything turns out? Who could have thought? You have to sacrifice something, either the town or the polyhedron. One of the queens wants to destroy the wondrous tower, while the other seeks to raise as much as possible just to make sure. Do you have a different solution? If my confidants are alive, I will come to the council with you, and there won't be a single queen there that I won't be able to convince to my cause. But are you absolutely sure they are alive? Do you really want me to come to the council? Yes, I am sure all your bound are well. Come to the cathedral, and I'll give you the right to decide. Clara will come to the cathedral. If I will let her make the ultimate decision, she will force the commander to withdraw his troops, and the current situation will remain unchanged. Yet, might a refusal to interfere be seen as a decision in itself? In this case, the town will remain a machine of death, no matter how pretty it is. I don't trust Clara's judgments. She's too erratic and at times almost schizophrenic to really be reliable for a judgment. I mean that in a relatively literal way. She doesn't seem to always make a lot of sense. The reports I hear of her are very conflicting. She seems to have a lot of internal conflict and internal inconsistency. But then again, maybe she can work miracles. Maybe the magic spoken about her is true. Who knows? I think, at last, it may be time to visit the polyhedron. We might finally learn a little bit more of what everything was about. The authorities seem to believe that they literally own us. That they pass the rules of law, the rules of nature itself. They almost seem akin to the angels of Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials stories. Beings concerned with authority and law and believe that they make the world. Almost literally. Whether that's actually the case remains to be seen. A lot of the themes that occur in Pathologic can be taken as allegories for a lot of Russian culture generally. We have what some would call a backwater place, but we have essentially a rural community that is being overtaken by industrialization, by the more European half of Russia, which presents strange and new ideals, strange and new beliefs and ways of running the world itself, which seem to entirely come into conflict with everything else. Those ideals themselves feel beautiful to behold, but are debatable in their execution. The world remains an uncertain place. In my own personal life, I would say I'm closer to being a utopian than anything else, but I have to have some degree of introspection and wonder why that is. Why is it that I yearn for a world that, by its own definition, cannot exist? Why is it that I yearn for a certain perfection and justice in a society which may never inherently be truly fulfilled, which may be perverted and twisted and woven into different strands somehow, and made to be something it was never intended to be.
My path was called.
Down to the bottom we go. I told us to. Oh shit. I told us to descend the stairway. So down we must go. Where is the staircase down? I genuinely have no idea. I'm just gonna save in case I accidentally fall off an edge. I gather it'd be somewhat easy to do in this place. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Why is it that some people wish to live in the world of dreams? What can dreams provide that reality cannot? And if we could make our dreams real, would that be a good thing? The authorities, ladies and gentlemen, and their sandpit town with a water cooler, polyhedron. The authorities playing with the little doll that is the player. Don't be upset. Being a toy is also nice. But why did you play with it like this? Why couldn't you have chosen a different game, like tag or something, huh? Because we've been to a funeral. They've been sending us out to the garden for 10 days in a row so that we wouldn't get in anyone's way. They've been taking us to the cemetery for a week now, Bachelor. If you keep being naughty, I'll take you with me next time and we'll leave him among the wreaths so that you know better. But why did you need dolls? Couldn't you have played without us? Well, we did need to find some use for you. We never liked you all that much anyway. You've always been the scary doll. Playing with you was no fun. So you stuck the throwaways into the thick of it. The ones that could fix things. You can't always have a smart doctor man at hand. That's just how the game goes. Will you help us heal the town? I'll heal it for my own sake, not for yours. Hey look, it's Bachelor! Wow, he's so big! How did you find us? They've already told you, right? So the powers that be are you. I want you to tell me everything. You little pricks, tell me everything you know before I beat the living hell out of you. No. So the powers that be are you. No problem. What do you want to know? What diabolical game are you playing? Look, it's a magic sandbox. See how it reflects in the mirrors? It's because everything's for real in there. Here's a town, we made it out of sand. And there's this awful thing going on there. An epidemic. So it's all crumbling, the town's falling apart. But we've sent heroes in there to fix it. So how did you go about sending the heroes? It's rotting, see? Yeah. We hope they think of something. Mirror it in sand at least. They're magical too, you know, the heroes are. Take you, for example. Look how well it all worked out. You used to be a doll and now you're alive. Perhaps the rest also work like this. Did you know that your dolls were alive? Everything is alive around here. It's the structure, it brings everything to life. It's not like we're twisting anyone's arm, it just happens, on its own. We only built the town, and then it became miraculous all on its own. And the dolls, we just stuck the throwaway ones in, they were lame anyway. Oops, sorry. Just don't you dare crush anything in there. I'll try to fix it. See, doll? It was us. We've arranged all this. Turned out to be great. We never made a world like this before. It's magical. We planted it, and here's what's grown up. But now there's rot everywhere. You're calling me a doll, you whelp? Hey, don't call me names. Take it easy. Okay, it wasn't me who's made you, but I've had you since I was 3. You're a doll. Ask anyone. Your name's Bachelor. You're the scary clown. You're always the evil guy when we're playing. human being. It's you who's going to become a doll in my hands now, kiddo. Really? So you're not a doll? Go ahead, hit me then. Why are you just standing me? I dare you. Hit me with everything you have. You will regret this, I swear. Let's see if this works. Of course it doesn't. I'm just a toy. In the hands of deity children. I hope I can switch places with you someday, you powers that will have been. That can happen too. Nanny says everything happens. Then you will know what it's like being a toy in the hands of a monster. In the end, the powers that be were children playing a game. Much like I am now. A child playing a video game. Don't be too quick to call them monsters. They are no more monsters for making the characters suffer than we are for playing the game in the first place. Please do come by to meet us at the theatre if you have a spare minute. We'd like to have a rather inconsequential but mature talk with you. We apologise for the inconvenience. The people who executed the whole thing. So in the end, we found out that the whole thing was just a game. But then again, we already knew that, didn't we? After all, that is the premise of this entire medium, a game that we play. Back to the theatre we go. If that is perhaps our last protocol. Of course, the tragedy and the executives might have a bit more information. But then again, what does it really matter at this point? This whole thing is a bit meaningless, a charade invented by children. But even then, can they really be said that that's what they are? After all, the children were invented by developers. This whole thing is a game. Perhaps that's one of the more obvious statements, but nevertheless I feel is important. Oh, Christ, the plague. I suppose I have near enough cured everyone, but I just want to be 100% sure before I take anything. Perhaps this beak man will let me in through the doors at last. And we can finally find out the last details of this strange and wonderful play. Come in. They are waiting for you. Take my coat and bag. The bodies are gone, and the stagehands take their final bow. The hero is a doll, but so are the children. The real game is what's happening between you and us. I cannot leave the Bachelor's body. You are imposing your limits upon me. The Bachelor has lost his battle for freedom since the very day he was born. What about you? I wanted to stop the epidemic, even a make-believe one. But did you understand what the epidemic really was? It was truly rather obvious. A toy danger that has ravaged a toy town. Was the disease the true evil blow? The disease is only a method, a weapon of evil, just like a scalpel in the Bachelor's hands. The disease will go, devouring itself. Then there'll be war, famine, heresy. Was it really worth all the effort? Look around. All this for a single wretched town? No. It was the town that had been built for you, not the other way round. We apologize if it's been a disappointment. So you're curious as to what fate I will choose for the town? We have to make sure that it truly is you who's making the decision. Are you absolutely positive that your choice is not predetermined by anyone or anything? Could it have been otherwise? Oh, absolutely. When every step you take has been predicted, you are still free to either take it or not. When it has been foreseen, however, you remain a mere puppet in someone else's hands. Being my puppeteer is a good way to position for you. You see how sad our fortune is. We put all our hopes in you. We poor actors were hoping you'd become the director of a new show. The old one has been beaten to death, but you turned out to be a doll. But I am not a doll. Did I hear you right? Who is it speaking? It's me, the player. Oh, then I apologize profusely. You are definitely not a doll, but that seems to be unhelpful for our hero now. He is humiliated, crushed, and most importantly, he is deprived of the power that we had all hoped for. By the way, are you still willing to take responsibility for him? Yes. He is my responsibility, and I will stay with him to the very end. His words shall be my words, and his deeds shall be my deeds. Oh, then I apologize once again. Perhaps all is not lost yet. Let's wait for the finale and see if the day brings any surprises. We still have a chance to play in a drama with an unpredictable story. Yes, and I like Bachelor Dankovsky better. It's my solo now. I shall take my leave of the stagehands and go on to finish this wretched play once and for all. The time is 13:06. Within 6 hours, the cathedral's doors shall open, and Bachelor Dankovsky shall stride through. The final decision shall be made, and this story shall finally be over. Or at least this part of the story. It is, after all, a trilogy, of which Bachelor Dankovsky's is merely one facet. trilogy of perspectives, perhaps I should say, rather than a trilogy in of itself. There are no sequels to Pathologic, per se, though there is a remake in the works. Nevertheless, let's sleep a little longer. Might as well down a bottle of Meridorm before we go. Nothing else to do with things anyway, so why not? I'm going to literally eat bread and meat. Cool. Don't need to eat 3 whole loaves of bread. The hour is 7:30. The doors are now open, and Bachelor Dankovsky shall take the stage. Come, Bachelor, the Assembly is awaiting your decision. The queens of this chessboard are in a deadlock. They have each other pinned down. The game may very well end at a tragic stalemate. You are a pawn at the finishing line. Deliver your checkmate, mate. Do I hear laughter from your ugly bee? Funny. Now everything will be decided. The Inquisitor lass seems to think she has used you. Confused? Don't you fret. She's also nothing. Everything was leading to this. You are now acting in the interest of inevitability. You can't get away from it. Evil conquers all. Make way. It seems that everyone is here. The board is set, so let us discuss our actions and take the place.
I'd give anything for a decent meal.
Look at them. You see now she's a victim? Do not paint her a demon. She is just honestly doing her duty, like you or me. You're protecting Aglaia. Do you really have something to say in her defense? I'm just still confused. What has she done to deceive you? Did she lie to you as she withheld the truth? I think you've learned everything you have without her help. Every conclusion you've made is your own. The whole town was at your disposal. She had to protect the town at any cost. That was her purpose, and yet she tried to settle personal accounts with her deceased sister whilst claiming to fulfill a noble duty. Why? She came as a light-bringer capable of resolving all our misfortunes with the power of her intelligence, and ended up being a traitor that tried to sell me another lie in the guise of ultimate truth. You're just holding a grudge going on, nothing more. You only feel betrayed because you've entrusted yourself to her. But that was your own choice. It's unwise to brand someone as savior beforehand and then denounce them when they fail to live up to your expectations, even though they didn't know you had them. She knew. That's the difference. She knew, and she exploited my hopes. You brought this on yourself. Don't try to get even with Aglaia. If you want to destroy the town and save the tower only to get her and punish her towards her demise, that would be unbecoming of you, why not? It is you who will turn into a spiteful puppeteer driven by thirst for revenge. It's not about revenge, I just want to keep my word and fulfill my mission fairly.
That tower will have to be destroyed. That's how we procure Icor.
We have very different definitions of duty. What is your definition of duty? Or not? My duty is either eradicating the infection for the world at any cost, or my duty is to find out the truth and act in good conscience. That is both what the powers that be and the Inquisitor have demanded of me, yet both of them have concealed the crucial truth.
What was that?
I'll make the choice myself. Then why have you brought me here? I've come across new information. I truly apologize.
People are willing to sacrifice themselves so that the town survives. Help me get to the cathedral. I'll show you.
Is it true that the commander has acknowledged you as a heavenly harbinger and is now obeying your will? Would I ever have the right to be called a heavenly harbinger if I had my own will? Does the commander serve me? Oh, how stupid you are, Bachelor, when speaking of matters of this kind. The commander is a knight. His heart is sensitive in a very unique way. He has realized who is to be served now. What is to happen to him? I'm not impartial to his fate, too. Are you afraid he will die? Oh, don't be. The powers that be have in fact given his order no less hypocritical than the one you've received. He will be spared, I think. They just need to find a new battle for him. So many fires, so many abysses he is to walk through, each of them eagerly prepared by the powers to become his grave. Yet he is to overcome all hardships. To become a dictator and a tyrant, eventually? Oh, with your help. That's what you're trying to say, right? I shall accompany him everywhere. In every campaign I shall stand by his side, and he will always know where to strike, for that will not be a choice for him. Terrible and numerous will his foes be, yet his force is to become unconquerable, empowered by my spirit. So you want to start a holy war? Under what banner? Who will believe you, changeling? Are you afraid that too much blood will be spilled before the light of truth triumphs over the world? Don't be. Yes, guns will destroy many before the war is ended, but when it ends, it will end forever. All earthly kingdoms will unite and exist in consent, and there will be but one law. You're laughing at me. In reality, you already know he must be doomed. Just don't you think I don't feel sorry for him. He's noble, honest, and a true hero, an Alexander. Yes, he is destined to die, but we will save the town. Make your choice, Bachelor. No, I won't give you the right to decide. You're the vilest of all the creatures I've met recently.
It's so cold.
I would like to know more about how you're going to keep the town intact. No, Bachelor, you will never understand this. You are very smart, but your intelligence holds you back. You will never come to understand my truth. Even though you're close to Maria and believe in Simon's abilities, you still are all too far from understanding the higher purpose of things. My truth only comes together on that level. Both you and Burak are semi-illiterate simpletons, so why are you both pitying me? Why won't you respect my knowledge as much as I respect yours? Your victory is a victory of pure reason. Look, just like we all, you have constructed a picture of the whole universe and found the root of what happened, but your picture is austere and bare bones. You've merely come to understand the mechanics of the events. You are generally a mechanic of a medic. Who are you then? Me and Burak, we are different, and much more profound, believe me. Your world is mechanically consistent and rational. You want to keep what is reasonable to keep and destroy what is necessary to destroy in order to complete your tragic mission with minimal risk. You're laughing at me, the polyhedron. I want to keep the polyhedron. What could be less logical? I want to keep the polyhedron out of respect for the kindred genius who has calculated the mechanics of a miracle trap, a contraption designed to capture what should not be captured. The polyhedron is only a cold mathematical masterpiece made of glass to you. It is a very different thing to me. Look at you. It's like you're possessed by someone else. Perhaps it's not the same me you knew before. There is more than one me. A lot, perhaps. We've got the same pretty face, but who knows whose will is behind it right now. Enough. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to make this choice.
Premonitions rarely fail me.
I am indeed powerless, as you can see. I'm accused of having arranged your discovery. I've lost my vote of confidence. So tell them whose discovery it is, for the laurels are yours. Are you in doubt? The diabolical deception was so simple. The cause and the source. It's so easy to put these very different things together, Inquisitor, but they are not the same. In this case, they are. It is strange that you have failed to see that. This place is a utopia. That is, an abuse of nature. The utopia must be destroyed. It is evil. What is a utopia, Aglaia? Let's talk for the last time. What is provoking your hatred so much? I am a humanitarian. My duty is to save people, not to kill them. I only condemn a few to death for the sake of the many. Now I'm offering you this to save the happiness of several thousands, hardly shedding any blood at all. The utopia will demand more and more sacrifices, you know, even this utopia. But why do you think this place is a utopia? Nobody conducts social experiments here. Look, this place is more natural than nature. Utopias are usually constructed to embody perfect justice, liberty, or economical thrift. This one, however, is different. The town is not a place that does not exist. It's a place that cannot exist, mustn't exist. Here is where the cause and the source are the same. Mustn't exist? Yes, it's a phenomenon beyond the habitual reality, contradicting the laws of common sense and embodying that which must be known to, felt, and seen by men, and yet it has been created and materialized at human discretion. A man strives to be happy, and this is a great blessing. What's so bad about that? What does this shabby town have to do with it? And you overselling it by calling it a utopia? Let's get back to the matter at hand. The wonderful town is suddenly beginning to die. No one knows why. Why this one, the one that has managed to produce a wonder? The most curious, the most mysterious, inhabited by the most talented people. What did they do to deserve this? I'll tell you. I'm all ears. At the persistent pleasure of the capricious powers that be, the miracle that has been accidentally embodied as the polyhedron is forced to stay there, captured by the flesh of the town that has nurtured it, feeding it with its resources, people, and hot blood. This flesh has become its womb and its prison. You're being too metaphorical. What does this have to do with my choice, or the epidemic? Enslaved miracles die out not of anyone's malice. That is just their nature. You can't hold a miracle with your hands, you can only hold its corpse. This idea is not new. Let us have a closer look at the disease, the embodiment of its logic. Is it good or evil? Why has it come to this town? Do you consider it to be good? Why did you come to the town at the same time then? You are by all definitions a hero, a miracle maker almost. It was the powers that be that have tried to make you detain a miracle here, not the poor obsessed Canes. They've only played their part. They represent their own force. But you, do you really want to go back to being a slave? The powers that be are bending you to submission according to their own design. You're obsessed with revenge, Aglaia. Revenge is a bad companion in the search for truth. Then tell them, Daniil. There he stands waiting for your word, a puppet just like... Guide his weapons. No one has heard of a single word of recommendation from me yet. I'm relying on you completely, just like I said, and heed my warnings. I remember everything we talked about. Please, be silent.
We can't let cheats play with our free will.
So, Bachelor, it was neither greed nor plotting nor circumstance that has informed your choice, but your conscience alone. You've been given orders to level everything here, but if that's not necessary, I am willing to trust your judgment, risking my life and honor, for I am merciful. Where shall I point the guns? I'm not ready to make my choice yet. That is wise. You will have neither a second chance nor replay option. I advise caution. I'll keep it in mind.
I often feel like someone's looking at us from the other side.
I knew you would come. When will you begin to execute your design, Maria? I've already begun, my Danielle. When the night falls and the wind scatters the smoke above the scorched earth and the dust of the buildings demolished settles, you will see several new constellations light up in the sky. They will plunge their light towards us, and when the first specks of this light reach the constellations of the polyhedron, a miracle shall happen. What will they be like? How are you going to call them? I'll see, but I expect them to be mostly red. Ruby, scarlet, crimson, carmine, merlin, mahogany, vermilion, garnet, rose, pink, burgundy. Perhaps you may even notice something familiar in the structure of these constellations. Where will these constellations come from? They've existed for a long time already. People just couldn't see them before because their light was hurrying towards us from far beyond. Now the first rays of these stars are about to reach our surface. We will see their light reflected in the spectacular plains of the preserved polyhedron. Well, but why are you here, Maria? You ask strange questions. Don't you see that this is my town now? I am the power here. I am the mother, and since I am to give birth to the new town, I am wont to witness the demise of the old one. This is my duty. I am the last of the Canes. What about your brother? Aren't you going to share your power with him? There's nothing to be done about it. They have to free up the space for the new guests. My brother will become embittered, betray me, and rebel against me. But I will find a way to deal with him. He will cower behind Capella's back willingly when my mother's eyes frown and glare at him. Have you become a mistress already? No, I haven't. You won't see it here, unless you're planning to stay, of course. I won't. I'll leave the town and the military train at dawn. There's perhaps one further thing.
You've changed.
I wish to just make sure that...
It will be.
Yes?
The executors... perhaps... haven't fully informed us of everyone in this building. I don't think I picked the right dialogue option, but there is one option with Clara that she tells you that Eva is still alive and still here. My beloved Eva. And here she stands, atop the tower.
I'm having chest pain.
Here you are. I've got everything I ever wanted now. Tell me, Eva, does Maria have anything to do with your death? Maria, 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 once again, why do you keep talking about her? What does she have to do with this? You're with me now, and will last such a little while, so why ask me about Maria, as if there was nothing else to talk about? Why did you do it then? Was it really because of... Don't hurt yourself. Don't assume I've done it for you, not at all. I just want to inhabit this place, to bring the cathedral to life a bit, so that there was at least something miraculous here. Suicide is not the way to fill a cathedral with grace. You also think so? Oh, I'm so scared. I feel I've released something malevolent with my actions. Yes, this place is no longer empty, and something mystical has indeed appeared. I feel it all the time, but it frightens me so very much. What does it mean? What do you think? I'm not an expert in religious matters, and tonight is the first time I ever regret that.
My path used to be called Goldilocks, but then I truly wanted to give my soul to the cathedral so that it'd have at least something immortal in it.
Here, I'd find you here. Jesus fucking Christ, spiral staircase, there we go. She's not alive, alas. So, our final save and our final decision. The Bachelor has made his choice.
Where are the orderlies? Those lazy bastards.
Let the settlement be destroyed. But there's no reason to hurt the polyhedron. Survivors will find shelter there until we vaccinate them and the epidemic dies out. So you think the town is doomed? I do. The soil underneath it is soaked with poison. We're very lucky that the ground here is so fastidious. Plough every inch of it up with shells, shake it and pull the rocks out, split it into cracks so that no one would ever dare re-inhabit this land. This side of the river is uninhabitable. I see. And you believe that the tower will make it through the bombardment, despite its base being so thin? Yes, the tower must keep its balance. I've studied its structure and I'm inclined to believe that it's rather earthquake resistant. It's like a weight on a steel spring. If no shell explodes on the opposite bank of the river, the polyhedron will remain intact. Shells will only fall where I point them to fall. Let it be so then. Can you prove that this is a good way out? I can. Here are my arguments. The bacteria specimen, the vaccine, and the blueprints, and the map charting the source of the pest. Are you sure there's nothing else you'd like to tell me? I'm sure, Commander. The choice has been made.
That tower will have to be destroyed. That's how we procure Icor.
Where shall you go now, Einon? Who will look you in the face? I was going to ask you the same.
Slow.
My path.
I haven't slept for 3 nights in a row.
Neither the town nor the tower have to be sacrificed. Everything can be saved.
I'm looking forward to midnight. You are a midnight creature, aren't you? And so the game is ended. Choice is made. Let the tower remain, whatever the cost. Nothing like it will ever be built again. It is not a mere building, but a symbol. It allows us a hope of possibility that some false truths of our ill-fated epoch might be overthrown. It's a delicate fortress that holds veritable proof that however well established our notions of possibility are, they still fail to account for what may or may not exist. This is the bastion I am willing to fight for. As for the powers that be, they're going to regret their hypocrisy. They were so determined to force me to observe the promise I gave not to disappoint. The town they are so fond of will be reduced to rubble. This I have spoken. I suppose not much remains for me to do now. The rain comes down, as if nothing ever happened, washing away everything that we once held dear. No, I'll sleep in my own bed, I think. I can't bear to see someone else in Eva's place. Cured plague, a bottle of Maridorm, and so I go to sleep.
did it, it was a free choice. We acknowledge the victory of the player.
It is indeed miraculous. The exit is clear. It shouldn't have happened. The miracle must be real.
I stand now upon the stage, the player. My hands are my own. I'm not the Bachelor's any longer. The three characters lie spoiled in the heap. And all the other ragdolls, meaningless creatures of this town, lie upon the floor, the game completed. Well, don't think there's anything left for us to do any longer except perhaps leave this solemn stage. Of course, the only exit is the exit that there has always been. That's the end of Daniel Dankovsky's story. Goodbye.